Kevin Klaus here from the Guyana Revenue Authority. It's good to be back with you again. This week in Focus on GRA, we'll tell you about the rollout of the Customs and Trade single window system and how this fits into the Revenue Authority's strategic objectives. How to get a reprint of your TIN certificate if yours is lost, damaged, or maybe requires updating. We'll be joined by our librarian here at the GRA, and she'll be giving you a guided tour of the GRA's Educational Resource Center and tell you about the services provided. Later on in the program, we'll have a tax specialist join us to answer some of your questions. We'll have important messages from the GRA and more. This is where we focus on GRA.
School is out and it's time to start buying those school supplies for your children. Here's how GRA can help. Textbooks, coloring books, craft books, dictionaries, pencils, erasers, crayons, lunch kits, scientific calculators, geometry sets, and many more essential school supplies are zero-rated for VAT. School uniform garments for shirts, pants, skirts, kimonos, and dresses are also zero-rated for VAT. So what are you waiting for? Get to shopping. GRA, your partner in development.
We want the best facilities that this country could ever see, the best infrastructure and public utility, the best education for children in this country, the best health services and public security. But if we want to see such development in every community, then we must be fair and pay we full share of taxes and duty. Want proper bridges and coca, pay your tax. Better roads and safer, pay your tax. Better electric power, pay your tax. Clear potable water, pay your tax. Better schools and teacher, pay your tax. Better nurses and doctor, pay your tax. Better police and soldier, pay your tax. For a better Guyana, pay your tax.
Meet Cindy.
Meet Shivani.
Cindy is using the old tax software to assist taxpayers,
While Shivani is using the new optimal software where everything is stored electronically and is easily accessible.
Optimal Revenue Management System. Let's get ready for 2021.
Focus on GRA is a program of information for taxpayer education. The adoption of information communication technology best practices in recent years has certainly equipped the Revenue Authority with the tools to respond faster to taxpayers' expectations. Already, traders can submit declarations and pay customs duty online through ASICUDA, that's the Automated System for Customs Data, ASICUDA World. But with the Customs and Trade single window system soon to be implemented, the GRA will be able to synchronize with counterpart agencies to provide comprehensive services to the public. This is where we begin. In mid-2019, the National Assembly passed legislation to establish the Customs and Trade single window system. This system makes use of information communication technology to simplify processes for importers and exporters. The single window system is an online entry point or window through which a trader can submit all the documents required by various approving agencies when processing and clearing a particular good or list of goods for the purpose of import or export. The single window solution is the next major project to be spearheaded and rolled out by the GRA's IT department. Head of Information Technology, Ceci Jones, explains how it fits into the GRA's strategic objectives.
A single window solution, we went out for tender. We are kind of now working through the paces on the selection of a solution provider. But our product is intended to put a web interface in front of our customs operations and integrate all of our stakeholder agencies such that they have a seamless interaction.
The introduction of the Customs and Trade single window system is intended to provide traders with ease of doing business because it allows them to use a single entry point or portal to access, complete, and submit necessary documents for customs clearance. The process will reduce the time and cost associated with visiting and seeking license and permits from counterpart agencies of the GRA, such as the Government Analyst Food and Drug Department, which vets and approves food imports, the Pesticide and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, which monitors import of poisonous substances, and the Ministry of Agriculture, which examines imports of plant and animal species. There are several ministries and departments that deal with imports and exports in Guyana. The majority of these are paper-driven.
What we want to try to do is to minimize the up and down movement between all stakeholder agencies when you're processing a declaration, any consignment going in or out of the country.
The Revenue Authority has already made headway in enabling access to its online payment module through its information communication technology systems. Currently, taxpayers who have accounts at Republic Bank and the Guyana Bank for Trade and Industry, GBTI, can request a payment order through its automated system for customs data that allows them to pay customs duty via online banking. The Customs and Trade Single Window system, on the other hand, enables efficiency of service beyond these capabilities.
While ASICUDA has gone a fair way in terms of bringing in some of the stakeholder agencies, we want to really refine that process by the introduction of this product, and also make it easier for the end consumer to process a transaction from start through to conclusion on our platform.
The capacity of the single window system encompasses not only portal access and submission of documents, but also electronic payments for fees, duties, and taxes due on goods which are imported or exported. Stakeholders in the trade arena, inclusive of transportation, will be able to experience the advantages of fulfilling all import, export, and transit-related regulatory requirements from the comfort of their homes or offices. That was GRA's IT head, Ceci Jones, providing some insight into the implementation of the Customs and Trade Single Window system. Customs has strengthened its monitoring and control functions at the country's ports of entry to enforce compliance with the country's laws and regulations, while at the same time facilitating trade and maximizing revenue collection. Aiding this process is the container scanning facility at the corner of Lombard and Sussex Streets. Here are the details. With the procurement of a mobile container scanner and the establishment of a fixed location in partnership with GNIC, the Guyana Revenue Authority was able to resume scanning of containers for exports on a continuous basis. This facility that is located at the corner of Lombard and Sussex Streets houses 2 container scanners, both of which were acquired through partnership with the People's Republic of China.
For exports, we have also implemented a fixed scanner to supplement the mobile scanner located at the GNIC wharf area. And what is aimed, one of the goals of this is to reduce the processing times while being more efficient in detecting anomalies with exports.
The new tech scanners provide quality images and sophisticated scanning features, providing comprehensive examinations of the contents in a container destined for export. It satisfies international maritime requirements on trade and supports enforcement and intelligence activities for both the GRA and the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, CANU, in the illegal drug fight. Container scanning resumed in 2018 after the previous mobile scanner, acquired 4 years prior, experienced functional errors. Subsequently, the GRA acquired the fixed scanner, which can facilitate non-intrusive scanning of containers.
This new fixed scanner, it's working in tandem currently with the mobile scanner, and it actually scans the container in just about half the time it takes with the mobile scanner. So we can see increased efficiency, and with that our targeting, our risk-based approach can get better, because we can now tweak it accordingly, knowing that we can scan more just to zoom in on the high-risk areas that we need to focus on to ensure compliance with the laws.
Both of these were owing to the friendly relations with the People's Republic of China. The container scanning facility operates during 8 to 16:30 hours, Mondays to Thursdays, and 8 to 15:30 hours on Fridays. However, Customs may approve overtime based on the demand for scanning. Containers arrive at the facility's southern gate based on an appointment system. The exporter presents the customs declaration form, scanning letter, and other required documents to the scanning operator. Subsequently, the operator reconciles the information on the letter with the container before communicating with the scanning specialist. Before the commencement of scanning, the scanner operator, who is in control of the parameters of the scanner, ensures the area is clear. The scanning specialist then switches on the device's radioactive source, which sounds an alarm to alert those in the terminal that scanning is in progress. The container takes approximately 2 minutes to scan and another 3 minutes for analysis. The analysis is done using the software tools provided by Newtek. Once there are no anomalies detected, the container is released via the eastern gate. All cargo leaving Port Georgetown must be evaluated by the GRA's Drug Enforcement Unit. Personal effects. These are barrels, boxes, packages, and parcels containing non-commercial items sent by air through a recognized shipping agency. A flat rate of duty is applied for clearing these items. Visit the GRA's website, gra.gov.gy, to learn more. Focus on GRA is back after these short messages. During this rather difficult period, the Guyana Revenue Authority wants to ensure that you complete a transaction as comfortably and speedily as possible. Drop by the Guyana Post Office Corporation anytime during working hours if you have to pay your internal revenue or your value-added taxes, your customs duties, or you can purchase your motor vehicle license. You can even drop in your tax returns there. You'll find us on the second floor of the Guyana Post Office Corporation using the Robb Street entrance.
Are you into business, going to school, or planning to buy a computer or laptop? Then GRA has you covered. Computer monitors, mouse, keyboards, and many internal components of the central processing unit are zero-rated from VAT. Yes, you heard right. They're tracked, no VAT. But wait, there's more. Computer accessories and printers for personal use, whether multifunctional or not, are also VAT zero-rated. For more information on zero-rated items, contact us. GRA, your partner in development.
Welcome back. You were watching Focus on GRA. Now, based on the number of questions that we've been receiving from persons who have either lost or damaged their TIN certificate, or they simply wish to update their TIN information, we've invited Supervisor of GRA's Tax Operations and Services, Ms. Dalet Goring, to provide the answers that you were seeking.
Taxpayer can request a reprint of a TIN certificate if it is damaged, lost, or the information on the certificate has changed. Supervisor of Central Registration Unit, Ms. Dalet Gorin, outlines the requirements for updating the information on a TIN certificate.
If the information has changed, change of address, change of name, then you are required to fill an application form, the same TIN application form as though you were applying for a TIN. You provide us with the evidence of the change, proof of address, a copy of your marriage certificate, a copy of the deed poll, a copy of your absolute in the case of a divorce. So we would then change the information on the system and reprint a new certificate, and that is absolutely free of cost.
If you are updating the information on your business TIN, the process is similar.
If the business address has changed, if the business name has changed, you approach the court, you do the necessary changes of your business, and you bring a copy of the change that you would have done at the court, and we do the necessary changes. You fill the application form, the company application form, you take amended, and we reprint the certificate and give it to you.
It is free of cost when updating information on your TIN to reflect a name change or change of address.
However, if the information in the system it remains the same, then you're required to pay 2,000 Guyana dollars for the reprint.
It will cost you $2,000 if you lost or damaged your TIN certificate and require a reprint. The GRA wishes to remind persons that you will only need a TIN if you are conducting business with a government agency or department, public corporation, or commercial banks.
Persons must understand that a TIN is a Taxpayer's Identification Number. It is not recommended that you use a TIN as your proof of address. It is not for the purpose of those those things that I've highlighted before, you going to get married or a visa, or you going to renew your passport. It is not for that purpose.
The VAT Act, Chapter 8105, mandates every taxable person to submit a tax return for each tax period or month within 15 days after the end of that period. On that account, here's a reminder to VAT registrants about the due date for the submission of returns for the month of November. The submission of VAT returns to the Guyana Revenue Authority is a monthly obligation that VAT-registered businesses must prioritize. The law requires every VAT registrant to submit a return or declaration to the Commissioner General in a prescribed format. Assistant Commissioner of GRA's VAT Audit and Enforcement, Lavina Walron, explains further.
You have the set-off nature, so you get a chance to set off the VAT you pay against the VAT you charged, right? And the difference in whichever direction, either it's paid to GRA if you end up charging more than you actually pay in that month. The tax period in this case is a month. You pay the difference to GRA in that month.
Section 31 of the VAT Act, Chapter 8105, specifies the due date as the 15th working day after the end of the period. Period being the month in which the total amount in taxes was collected.
For VAT, day means official working days of the GRA. Weekends don't count, holidays don't count, because it's 15 working days, not just working days, official working days of the GRA.
On that account, Monday, November 22 is the due date for the submission of VAT returns. This date would account for the 15th working day of the month, minus the weekend and the Diwali holiday on Thursday, November 4. Notwithstanding, the GRA advises VAT registrants to submit their returns in the earliest possible time to avoid the last-minute rush or the risk associated with missing the deadline. Most importantly, a return must be submitted whether or not VAT was collected.
Pay attention to your due dates. Make sure your payments are in. Try your best to file returns on time because there are penalties for both payments, there are penalties for late submission of returns.
Section 72 of the Act states that a person who knowingly or recklessly fails to lodge a return as required under Section 31 commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding $15,000. Further, if he or she fails to lodge within the extended time communicated by the Commissioner General in writing, the fine can increase to $2,000 per day. Fortunately, the GRA's Optimal Revenue Management System, launched in February 2021, reduces such risks, as it provides a platform for online submissions of returns, which can be done from the comfort of one's home or office. Yes, don't forget November 22, that's the due date for the submission of your VAT returns for the month of November. Now, the government's measure to offer tax relief on COVID-19 prevention care and treatment supplies remain in effect until December 31 this year. During this period, individuals and corporations will not be paying customs duty and VAT on the importation of COVID-19 test kits, instruments, and apparatuses used in diagnostic tests, protective garments and the like, thermometers, disinfectants or sterilization products, medical consumables, and medicaments. Don't go anywhere. We have your question in focus on the other side of the break. As a remigrant, you can import more than one vehicles and pay no import duties, no VAT, and reduce excise tax. However, the total exemption cannot exceed $5 million. If it does, you will have to pay the additional duties and taxes. Did I mention that returning students are also entitled to the same benefit 6 months after settling in the country? For additional information and assistance, contact us 227-6060, extension 1201 to 1204. When it comes to healthcare, we all want the best hospitals, the best doctors, and the best treatment. But sometimes the best comes at a heavy cost. Well, the good news is you don't have to worry about VAT on medical, dental, hospital, optical, or paramedical services. There's also no VAT on orthopedic appliances like hearing aids or others that are implanted on the body to compensate for a defect or disability. Sounds like good news to help you feel better for the best. So we've reached that segment of our program, Your Question in Focus, and this is where we provide answers to some of the questions that you've been asking us here at the Guyana Revenue Authority over the past few weeks. Those questions have been coming via our social media platform as well as via your emails and your telephone calls. Here with me to provide answers is Ms. Rhonda Griffith. She is from the GRA's Tax Advisory Services section, and she will be answering a question from Mr. David Chu. And Mr. David Chu wants to know what category of employees are entitled to vacation allowance, tax-free. But before we provide answers, let's first establish, Rhonda, what is vacation allowance?
Vacation allowance is a sum of money granted to an employee who is entitled to vacation leave. It is also granted in addition to vacation with pay.
So now to the question, and before we actually answer the question, tell us, let us clearly establish who is considered an employee in this situation.
According to Section 2 of the Income Tax Act, Chapter 8101, an employee means any person receiving remuneration and includes an officer, servant, person holding a position of employment.
So now to Mr. David Chu's question, and he wants to know what category of employees are entitled to vacation allowance tax-free.
All employees in both the private and public sector are entitled to 1 month's salary tax-free or free from any taxation. Previously, only employees in the public sector were granted this allowance, while the private sector employees were required to pay taxes on this allowance.
Great, thank you. So Mr. Chu is also asking, which year did the tax-free vacation allowance came into effect for the private sector?
All employers in the private sector must note that effective January 2018, private sector employees became eligible for tax-free vacation allowance. The amount of vacation allowance allowed tax-free must not exceed, and I repeat, must not exceed 1 month of the employee's gross salary.
Thank you very much, Rhonda. Rhonda Griffith from the GRA's Tax Advisory Services section. If you have other questions relating to vacation allowance or any other tax-related matter, feel free to contact us at the numbers listed at the end of our program. Welcome back. You're watching Focus on GRA. We are winding down to the end of our program. But let me tell you that in the process of fulfilling our mandate to collect revenues due to the government, the Guyana Revenue Authority places a high value on educational development of its staff so that professionalism in enforcement and the delivery of service is preserved. One such avenue for learning is the GRA's library, where there's a wealth of educational materials available for staff learning. You'll also be hearing how members of the public can also access these resources.
In meeting the public's expectations for timely and proficient services, the Guyana Revenue Authority ensures that it recruits and retains the highest quality of skills through its training and development facilities. One such facility is the GRA's Learning Resource Center, which facilitates access to research materials on taxation.
The library was basically for just research purposes for staff. The general public wasn't allowed to have access to that library. But in 2009, under the Millennium Challenge Account Project, the library was renamed to the Learning Resource Center. And this was because the library was now providing more services. That is for staff, and then they included the public.
The GRA's Learning Resource Center contains printed and electronic copies of the laws of Guyana, official gazette publications, and other materials for general knowledge. Its services have also been extended to document scanning and spiral binding. Through the adoption of information communication technology best practices over the years, the center evolved from a custodian of hard copy literature to offering digital library services to its staff.
If you're a staff and you're located in another section or another building, you don't have to come to the library location to get information. We have decided to go the e-way, which is by way of introducing the e-library.
The e-library facility is a feature in GRA's internal network system that allows staff to access research materials in the Learning Resource Center from their desk of office. In the e-library, research materials are available for download and are grouped by title, category, language, author, and publisher for ease of access. In catering to staff who prefer to visit in person, the center allows them to borrow reading materials and do research via computers with internet connectivity. The curator is able to manage user access through a special database tracking system. While most of these services are exclusive to staff of the Guyana Revenue Authority, the Resource Center can extend some of its services to members of the public. The curator explains who can gain access and under what circumstances.
We allow selected members of the public to use our library, and those members are students who might be doing SBAs and choose to use GRA as one of their organization they want to understudy. Also, persons from tertiary institutions, university, and just the general public who might want some information on GRA. Like, for instance, they might want to find out something about the Income Tax Act and they might want to have an amendment. They can come in and we will give that information to them. If they say that they cannot come in, there's a query service that they could call in, and we either send the information by email or we call them back and provide them with that information.
Persons can contact the GRA's Learning Resource Center for further information on telephone number 227-6060 extension 2202.
And that's all the time we have for you in this edition of Focus on GRA. But before I go, we encourage you to visit our website, gra.gov.gy, for more information. And also, you can email us, grapublicrelations@gmail.com, with your questions and queries. Thank you for watching. Fabian Krause saying goodbye for now. Take good care of yourselves and each other.